Alright guys, let's do a Tackle Tuesday gear review video. And today I'm going to review the Okuma Guide Select Swimbait stick. Now before I get into this review, I know some of you know some of my other equipment. So if you want me to review a specific piece of tackle, let me know in the comments below. On these Tackle Tuesday videos, I want to give you an honest review of some of my tackle. That means the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this Swimbait rod doesn't have much ugly with it. It does have some bad things, which I will talk about later. But the good thing about this rod is I absolutely love it. It is that perfect Swimbait rod. This particular one is an extra heavy, which is the one I would recommend. They make a heavy, an extra heavy, and an extra heavy. I'll tell you why I recommend the extra heavy after these couple of clips of giant fish I've caught with this. And that's one of the reasons why I like this, because I've actually caught more big fish with this rod than any other rod in my collection. A lot of them have been on artificial lures and not cut bait or live bait, although it's had its fair share of live bait fish. In fact, the first live bait fish that I caught on this rod was a giant striper. And stripers are some of the hardest fighting freshwater fish there is. And check out this clip of the first big striper that I caught on this rod. Got one. Be nice if I would have set my drag. Oh yeah, this is a striper. Totally didn't have my drag set. Too loose. I always loosen my drag whenever I store the rods. Oh. Yeah, this is definitely fighting harder than that channel cat. Whoa. Hopefully I get to land this guy. Get the skunk out of the rod. It's pretty good. It's handling it good. Big old striped bass. Now I know that clip you didn't get to see too much of the bend of the rod, but it handled that fish extremely well. And as you saw, it had the same Citrix 350 on there, and the Okuma Citrix 350. I'm actually going to do this as a completely separate review, so stay tuned to my channel if you want to see a review of this Citrix. Now that big striper is not the only big fish I caught on this. This exact bait caught a once-in-a-lifetime muskie. It was a 52-inch muskie that was just the biggest fish I've actually seen with teeth locally. So check out this clip of me catching the big 52-inch muskie. Oh! I got something. Nice. Whoa, that's a huge one. Holy cow. Wow. Man.
That's 50 inches. 52?
Yeah, 52. We'll call it 52. Man.
There you go.
There he goes. Now, as you've seen in those two clips, this rod is capable of catching gigantic fish and hard fighting fish. Now let me show you some of the features of this rod, and I'd like to shake the hand of the engineer who developed this rod butt. It is a big round ball, and I find myself using it when I'm casting. It actually helps aid casting these large swim baits. So it helps you with fatigue of casting these large swim baits. has EVA foam grip and foregrip, and it has a graphite reel seat, which helps reduce weight. I know a lot of cat fishermen like to use metal reel seats, but I've never heard of a graphite reel seat actually ever breaking. If you have, leave a comment below. Of course, it's a graphite blank, and the eyes do have inserts in them. I don't like eyes that have inserts because they are prone to falling out. Haven't had any kind of issues of it on this rod, and I've only used braid. I've never heard of it happening on this particular rod. The rod is 7 foot 11 inches. It says it's rated for 15 to 40 pound line. I've actually got 50 pound braid on it, so it's 10 pounds more than what it's rated for. And lure rating is 2 through 10 ounces. Which I think is a very generous rating. In my unprofessional opinion, throwing a 10-ounce lure with this rod is very difficult to do. I had this line through gizzard shad on here. This is a particularly heavy bait. It's 4 or 5 ounces. I would say that this is at the top end of being able to cast on this without fatiguing yourself too terribly bad. Although I was getting tired just throwing this bait. What I think this rod excels at is lighter baits like this shallow invader, or this line through trout, or the smaller version of the gizzard shad, which I'm really anxious to get this out on the water and see if I can catch something big with it. And this rod and reel combo has enough finesse to throw a redfin. This is a really super lightweight bait, and it's good for either reeling in or just waking on top of the water. But this thing is less than an ounce easily. So a bait that is 2 to 4 ounces is perfect for this rod. Now if you want to go up to casting, say, a pounder like a bulldog for muskie, which is a really extremely heavy bait, I would suggest going up to the extra heavy rod, or even just getting a muskie rod. And this extra heavy, it doesn't excel with muskie fishing either, especially on a boat, because sometimes you have to get that really deep figure 8, and this rod is less than 8 foot long. On a kayak, however, this is like your perfect kayak muskie rod because you're already down at the water and this thing is super lightweight. I look at this rod as more of a jack of all trades. You can muskie fish with it, you can striper fish with it, you can bass fish with it. I actually caught a large bass on this with a chatterbait, and I was actually going for muskie. Oh, got something. That was pretty quick. I don't know. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Now that is a nice bass. That's a new personal best bass right there. That is a nice bass. He's nice and thick. Look at that. Now I'm going to let him go. Now one last thing I'm going to address on this. There is one video of a guy who broke one of these rods. He had the heavy version of the rod and he was casting a big hud. A hud is like 2 to 3 ounces, but it's still a large profile bait. And he was casting it in some really fast current. And according to some of his comments, he got a big fish on a snag and he set the hook like Mike Iaconelli. I'm not surprised that rod broke. Okuma has a great warranty, and he has another comment on that video that he hasn't even turned his rod in for warranty. He was talking about how he would have to pay shipping, and I bet if he talked to Okuma, he probably wouldn't have to pay shipping. And I knew about that video before I bought this rod, and that's why I bought an extra heavy, because I knew I would be chasing big fish and tossing big lures like a Hud or a shallow invader or the Savage Gear line through baits. So out of all the rods, I would say get an extra heavy and put a Citrix 350 on there or put a Komodo 350 on there. And I'll review this reel another time. And that is my review of this rod. So if you want me to cover a specific piece of gear that I already have, let me know in the comments below. Like I said earlier, I have a few ideas of other things I'm going to review and talk about as more Tackle Tuesday videos. Thank you for watching, and give me that thumbs up if you like this video.